Hello there, I'm Hussein Al Said. Today I'll be talking briefly about an article. It has been conducted at Istanbul Okan University on behalf of Professor Samih Yildiz. This study is actually evaluation of worldwide cultural centers regarding ecological principles or features. And I have said case of study, which is Cevizli Socio-Cultural Center as case of study. I've started my studies with the importance of these cultural centers and how they affect positively on locals and visitors and the people who live in those surroundings. They actually affect positively in many aspects, such as socially, economically, and many more aspects. Then I've chosen many ecological cultural centers from all around the globe, and I have made a matrix comparison between all these cultural centers, and I've came up at the end, I've came up out of a design to be set in Cevizli Cultural Center. This project starting with the Pompidou Cultural Center in Paris, France. This obviously is one of the most significant projects that has been designed since the 1970s by Renzo Piano and Drogeris Richard. It's really an iconic building and attracted to all people and tourists as well. And what makes it unique with its a transparency of staircase usage that make people interested to discover the building more and more, as well as the recycling of the material that has been collected from the around sites to be recycled and to be used in the exhibition or fairs. This is kind of a respectful way to respect the environment and the theory of recycling and reusage.
Community. But on the other hand, the project was an interpretation of new cybernetic theories of information and organization, avant-garde theatrical principles, cutting-edge technology, and a completely new attitude toward urbanism and the practice of urban space. The ultimate goal was a building that would support and represent freedom and change in direct response to the desires.
Another example is the Tranqui Cultural Center, which has L-shaped economic building. It's just including 2 floors, and the first floor is raised over columns to make benefit from the ground level, with some vegetation to mitigate the surrounding, with some monuments as well. And it's really useful for the locals in there, and it serves them. Another example is the Crystal Cultural Center in London. This is really amazing project which has been awarded from many sustainable prizes, such as BREEAM, LEED as well, and many more. What makes it unique with its double glazed glass, with its some ray of usage, as well as the access to the site is magnificent because it uses some air line telepheric that what makes it not to damage the environment or the natural atmosphere.
Christened the Crystal, this eco-friendly building near London's Olympic Park's been crowned one of the most advanced environmentally friendly structures in the world. Commissioned by electronics giant Siemens, it aims to use half the energy of other major exhibition spaces and produces 65% fewer polluting emissions. An all-electric building, the Crystal uses solar power and ground source heat pumps to generate its own energy, meaning no fossil fuels are burnt in the process.
The building also has something called energy piles, and some of these are up to 150 meters deep, and they basically take advantage of the difference in temperature below the earth and inside the building.
And we have here the NKMIB Desert Cultural Center. This is came because of demand of 400 singers that live in that area, and they wanted a place, such a culture center, to show their talent and spend some time, you know. So it's really magnificent project that consists of a few floors all buried under the ground in order to not damage the surface of landscape, to be as natural as it has been, as well as to resist to the summers and harsh winters in there. Another example is the Starvos Cultural Center. This is really amazing project, which is really huge, even though it's really expensive, but it uses 100 photovoltaic panels. Can you imagine that? It's really massive photovoltaic in order to make the building itself self-sufficient, as well as to make benefit from the river that beside the cultural center, with a huge park beside it as well, to mitigate the environment and not to harm it. So obviously, among all these cultural centers, there is a major weakness among all these, which is the air pollution. This air pollution is mostly coming from the vehicles that has used all around these sites or in cities in large scale. So here the usage of fossil fuels generally is damaging the environment. However, in the Crystal London Cultural Center, that teleferic project is a great idea that is appreciated to be used elsewhere, or to support this kind of small genius ideas. And lastly, I've came up with a project regarding all these eco-cultural center from all around the globe. This project is buried under the ground to make benefit from the roof, to be as a garden roof, as well as it's economic, having just 2 floors. Beside it's a semi-open theater that make people feel the fresh air, as well as the usage of natural materials. It's still economic. It has many ecological features, photovoltaic panels, eatable gardens, water surfaces, some heat pumps, etc. of these ecological features. Thank you.